A Plaguelands Media production.
Hey everyone, this is Hugh from Plaguelands Media bringing you another book review today. This one I am especially excited for because it was chosen by my very own partners in Plaguelands Media Crime, Ian Van Gamet and Luke Carman. So cheers. Have not done that for a while. Now, the book I'm looking at today falls under the IP of Arkham Horror. This is an IP that is specifically Fantasy Flight Games with their board games such as Arkham Horror, Arkham Horror 2nd Edition, Eldritch Horror, my all-time favorite board game, Arkham Horror the Living Card Game, Mansions of Madness, and a few others. There's a new one, Horror on the Orient Express, coming out. Excuse my gassiness, that's what happens when you drink like an idiot. But the book I am reviewing is Wrath of Nakai, written by Josh Reynolds. Now, Josh Reynolds is a particularly favourite author of mine, purely for his Warhammer, Age of Sigmar, and Warhammer 40k novels. He is very well versed in that universe, and his writing style is incredibly accessible. So, when I saw that he'd written an Arkham Horror novel, this isn't the first one I have reviewed on this channel. I have reviewed an earlier one. I was kind of excited, this being the first book in a kind of like a series. I do have the other two that he has written. I got it primarily for the third one, which deals with Carcosa. Those of you that have followed the channel know that The King in Yellow and Hasta is one of my all-time favorite Cthulhu mythos things. But really excited to read this one, and it did not disappoint. It read exactly like one of the Call of Cthulhu gaming sessions I had with Luke and Ian back in the day. The campaign went for about 2 years. It didn't actually end. The characters are still alive, and there are a lot of unresolved plot threads, but we decided just to kind of move on to something new at the moment. It is Vampire the Masquerade. And the reason we did that is because, I mean, we have all of these tabletop RPG games to play. My latest acquisition being Raven, which is a tabletop RPG based on the works of Edgar Allan Poe. So 2 years on one RPG was a long time, although we had a shit ton of fun. And I was recording narrative of the sessions, which have been uploaded onto this channel. You can go back and have a look at them. But it just became a little bit too much for me. And so that's why I kind of stopped doing that. But Mort and oh fuck, I can't even remember the German dude's name now, but oh my god, those two were a fucking pair. Reading this felt like one of those sessions purely because this is set in Arkham, Massachusetts, where a lot of H.P. Lovecraft's work is set, as well as the other authors that have kind of kept up the tradition of Lovecraftian style horror. And so a lot of the places that the characters visit are places that my players visited, and places that they just, for want of a better term, just fucked shit up. So I don't want this to be a spoiler-filled review. I'm just going to give you a brief overview of this, and I really want you to go out and read it. This is one that I think you would benefit from reading it more than me just telling you the plot as it happens point for point. So I'm going to kind of keep that to a minimum. I'm going to talk about the characters. I'm going to talk about the writing style, the town of Arkham, and the kind of overall scheme of things. But yeah, we're just going to get right into the next episode of...
Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. Read a fucking book. People.
And through the magic of trick camera work, look, the bottle is full again. Okay, now, before I get into Wrath of Nakai, I just want to show you the next two books in the series. The Shadows of Pnath and the Song of Carcosa. So I will be getting to those and reading and reviewing them. But just to let everyone know, at the moment I am technically on vacation, although I do have some work to do with regards to my job. But things I will be reading and reviewing are probably going to be a lot of my hardcovers, just because they're a pain in the ass to travel with, and I often commute to work on the subway. So, Wrath of Nakai. Let's talk about the cover. You have the main character, the Countess Alessandra Zorzi, pardon me. And you have this ugly-looking mummified motherfucker right here, Arkham Horror logo, and Wrath of Nakai. And this is so reminiscent of a 1920s, 1930s style black and white movie poster, which I absolutely love. Whoever did this design fucking knocked it out of the park. So who is the main character? The main character is the Countess Alessandra Zorzi. She is a thief, an international thief with many clients, and her job is to steal primarily occult artifacts. She does mention in the book that a lot of these collectors kind of know each other, and they're just stealing from one another constantly. It's kind of like this little incestuous group of occult collectors. She arrives in Arkham because she has been hired by this man called Zamacona, who wants her to steal a mummy. Now, the mummy is important in that it's the first mummy that's been discovered in America. A professor from Miskatonic University called Professor Ashley and his partner kind of went on this dig looking for the lost cities of gold, which the Spanish conquistadors came to the Americas hoping to find, and discovered this burial mound, and they found the mummified remains of this person with this golden, kind of grotesque golden mask on it. They brought it back to Arkham, and she has been hired by this third party to go and to steal this mummy back, warned not to remove the mask because she's not worthy of it. So she comes to Arkham and arrives at the train station, where she gets this cab driver by the name of Pepper. She realizes Pepper is a teenage girl masquerading as a guy, and decides to hire Pepper to be her guide for the duration of the adventure in Arkham. Now, there are some horrific elements in this. There are some ritualistic killings. There's one guy that gets his throat ripped out. But a majority of this book is investigation. It's the Countess talking to people and going to places and trying to kind of put two and two together. She goes to scope out the Orne Museum, where the mummy is on display during this kind of gala, but the gala is interrupted by 4 robbers who end up stealing the mummy out from under her, and then her employer gets pissed off and wants her to kind of track these thieves down. At the same time, there's this insurance investigator called Whitlock who has run into Alessandra before and is pissed off because she stole something out from underneath him, and it's his like only unsolved case. So he's kind of getting into the investigation as well. What we have is an intense story where the clues are given to you, but you don't immediately put them together. You think you do, and you think you know where it's going, like I did. No, it's not going there at all. The bad guy that you initially think is the bad guy isn't the bad guy, and so on and so forth. The big kind of twist comes with this idea of the Spanish conquistadors discovering this hidden city called Cunyan, and that's kind of where these mummified remains have come from, and Zamacona is part of that, and there's a whole thing with people eating the dead and all of this kind of stuff. That it just reads like a Call of Cthulhu adventure, and that's what you want with a book like this. You don't want anything else. You just want these characters kind of acting like players would act if they were in that same situation, and that's what made it so fucking brilliant. Reading this, reading the situations that Alessandra and the cab driver Pepper were put in, I'm like, oh, for sure my fucking players would have done that. Or, oh no, they would have probably tried to make that guy piss his pants. It fucking cracked me up in the places that I knew it would. At one point, the characters go to this kind of underground nightclub casino called the Clover Club, which is at the back of an Italian restaurant called La Bella Luna. And when I read that, I laughed so fucking hard that people on the train were looking at me, because my players went to La Bella Luna. My players went to the Clover Club. My players got into a beef with Peter Clover, the owner of the fucking Clover Club. It just cracked me up so fucking hard because it brought back memories. This was the first time reading this, but this was like a nostalgia trip back to playing Call of Cthulhu with Luke and Ian. That's all this was for me. They meet characters like Daisy Walker and Harvey Walters and Professor Armitage. Now, Daisy Walker and Harvey Walters are playable characters in games like Arkham Horror, in games like Eldritch Horror, in the Arkham Horror living card game by Fantasy Flight Games, which are all fucking fantastic games, and you should go and play them. And during this vacation period, yes, there will be another Eldritch Horror game recorded and uploaded to this channel, and I will be using Harvey Walters and Daisy Walker as 2 of my characters just because of this fucking book. So you have that character. Professor Armitage, by the way, yeah, my characters killed him. They will argue till the day they die it was an accident or it was necessary. It was flat out fucking murder, pushing an old man down a flight of stairs. But you know what? Go and watch the video where I talk about that. It was an amazing session. Absolutely unforgettable. Those 2 years of Call of Cthulhu with those guys, unfucking forgettable. So, I'm not going to spoil the ending for you. I'm not going to tell you who the villain is. I actually want you to go out and read this for yourself, or get the audiobook and listen to it, because it is so worth the read. The character of Alessandra Zorzi is fantastic. I will say that I know what's coming up in the next 2 books, because at the end of this novel, after meeting Professor Armitage, she decides that her new mission now is to travel around the world and seek dangerous occult artifacts and bring them back to Miskatonic University. So that's where kind of the next books are heading. And I believe in the second one, she's after the tome, The Cult de Ghouls, which Call of Cthulhu players will know is an actual fucking reference to an item in the games. You can actually get the card in Eldritch Horror and probably Arkham Horror as well. These are fantastic books on their own, but if you're a fan of the IP, if you've played the games, if you know the mythos, you're going to fucking love every minute of it. The writing style. Let me talk about the writing style for a second. Josh Reynolds has this way with language that he plays with it creatively, but it's accessible. Okay, so if you're kind of turned off by the flowery mythos language of H.P. Lovecraft or August Derleth, Robert E. Howard, Brian Lumley, these kind of authors, yeah, pick up some Arkham Horror novels. You will not be disappointed. So that is my review of Wrath of Nakai. Did I enjoy it? Well, you just watched this and you know I fucking did. So there you go. Gonna leave it there for now. Please like, subscribe, leave a comment, tell your friends. We are so close to 500 subscribers, and if we hit the 500 subscriber milestone, I will review the most offensive book that I have ever read, and that is it. I'm covering up this other word because you really don't want to read it. This is by Urs Allerman, and yeah, it is disturbing beyond belief. That is the 500 subscriber milestone. Also, if I get enough comments on this video, and by enough comments, I'm going to say 5, I will do a top 10 book list, because people have been talking about the fact that I've put a few books that I've reviewed recently on my top 10 list, and they're kind of wanting to know what the others are. So if we get 5 comments, and the comment can just be shut the fuck up, that's perfectly fine. I will do a top 10 books of all time list. So, until then, everyone, stay safe, have a fantastic rest of your day, do all that other good stuff, but most importantly, drink a Korean beer, play an Arkham Horror board game, read a fucking book, people.